So I'm going to react because this video, the real reason Brock Purdy's not a top 10 quarterback, lots of comments. I love all the comments. The good, the bad, the negative. Love all that. I love discussing this. So let's just go over. So people were saying Brock Purdy had the Niners had a top 4 passing offense last year. You know what, 28th defense and 31st, 32nd special teams. I mean, look. And then Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Trent Williams were out, Debo's out. That's my point. Brock Purdy is not a guy to elevate a team. He's not a guy to carry a team on his back and just will his team to get far in the playoffs. With all those injuries, probably Niners were behind most of the time, so they had to throw. So therefore, your passing stats will get elevated a lot, right? Now Purdy, ran a lot. Brock Purdy. Now let me ask you this: Joe Burrow versus Brock Purdy. Who would you rather have? 32 GMs are taking Joe Burrow over Brock Purdy. Why? Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow have the same accolades. Both been to 2 AFC, NFC championship games, respectively. Both been to a Super Bowl and lost. Now, on paper, it's like, oh, they have the same accolades. Joe Burrow has better stats. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are in the tougher AFC. Let's compare the teams. Now, Joe Burrow in the AFC went 9-7, almost made the playoffs, but they were above 500. Now, Brock Purdy and the Niners in the weaker NFC went 6-11. Now, I say weaker, even though the Eagles won, I would say overall depth of talent of teams, the AFC had better talent, okay, and more Super Bowl contenders in the AFC compared to the NFC. That's why I say that. Brock Purdy, good quarterback. He's a more plug-and-play system quarterback. He's not dynamic. Now, let's go over all the traits that make an elite quarterback. The mind, the mental, which Brock Purdy has, I will admit that. Talent, arm strength, athleticism. You need to be athletic nowadays. Brock Purdy is average at best at all those 3. Arm talent, talent in general, and athleticism. Now, can Brock Purdy make dynamic plays and create plays when the play breaks down? I know I should play a bunch of times. Yes, he can. Can he do it on a consistent basis? No. That's why there's a reason Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. It's because he has rhythm, he has timing, he knows Shanahan's system. So that makes it good. But he's just not dynamic. That's why he's going to be an average quarterback at best. He's more in the Dak Prescott Tua category rather than the top 10 category. So there's my spiel on that. One more thing. So I base who I want as my quarterback on who would I rather have, right? I like to play the who would I rather have? Who would I rather have? Let's talk about Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, because those 2 guys popped up a lot when it came to Purdy. I think a lot of Niners fans were in the comments saying they'd rather have Purdy over Stroud and Love. Hey, that's fair. No harm on that. We can agree to disagree. I like to have my quarterbacks more talented with higher ceilings because I feel like I like potential. They're both young. They're all young. So I feel like Stroud and Love can only get better. And because of their athleticism and talent, they can still improve their mental game. There's only so much you can improve on your athleticism and talent. Well, talent you can't control. It's either you have it, you don't have it, or you have a little bit of it. With their athleticism, some guys are more athletic than others, which is natural. So it's just, you rather take the chance on the guy who's more talented. I'm thinking like more of a GM. Now, Purdy has a strong mental game, right? But he has a high floor, low ceiling. So I'd rather bet my chips on the guy with more talent, with the guy with the higher ceiling. And you just, you bet on the fact that they can improve their mental game. Now let's talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady's still 6'5". Tom Brady still has a strong arm. He has a great arm. Maybe not as good as Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning, but Tom Brady with the frame, the size, and and the obsession and the mental game, that's why Tom Brady's the GOAT. I don't think Tom Brady ever had a losing season. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's crazy. In an era where defenses reigned supreme and it was harder to have a great offense back in the early 2000s, mid 2010s, or early 2010s, I should say. Brock Purdy, in an era where being quarterback is easier, where it's like the rules favor quarterbacks. Can't really. It's rules favor quarterbacks. I repeated myself. More weapons, more athleticism on the perimeter, better offensive coaching, better schemes. Brock Purdy went 6-11. Sorry, but that's why Brock Purdy's not an elite quarterback. You got to factor in everything: stats, talent, mindset. Listen, his mental game is very strong. That's why he's an average quarterback, mid-quarterback. It's because he has it up here. What he lacks is athleticism, that dynamic plays. He's not dynamic. So that's why I say Stroud and Love are better, is because they're more dynamic. If I were a GM, I'd pick them, Stroud and Love, over Purdy, because you bank on talent. You bank on high ceilings and potential, because you just bet that they can improve the mental game. Anyone can improve their mental game. Anyone can improve film study. Like, I feel like that's controllable. That you can drastically improve, significantly improve, I should say. Whereas talent, you can't control. Athleticism, there's only so much you can control and improve on. Now, you would pick Jaden Daniels over Brock Purdy. You would pick Mahomes, Allen. Let's talk about Jaden Daniels. That's why Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback. Jaden Daniels had a mid roster last year, at best. Probably below average roster, in my opinion. One elite weapon on the perimeter, Terry McLaurin. Average to below average O-line. His running back one, Brian Robinson, was injured a lot. Not a strong running game. Jaden Daniels was the leading rusher on his team, by the way, and threw for about 3,500 yards. Jaden Daniels makes plays. Look at his highlights compared to Brock Purdy's. Purdy, it's more of Shanahan's scheme and getting guys open and throwing and them getting yak. Now, I should say, Purdy averaged, 8.5 yards on its attempts. Probably had to throw the ball further downfield just because they were down. The Niners were down. Do guys believe in Purdy? I would say so. There's another factor. Let's talk about the 2-minute drill. The ball in his hands. Do you believe the Niners and Brock Purdy can win the game? With Jaden Daniels, anything's possible. If Jaden Daniels has the ball last, everyone, the fans, the coaches, opposing fans, everyone, his teammates believe Jaden Daniels can deliver. Compared to the Niners, do you trust Brock Purdy closing the game out? He had a chance to in the Super Bowl. Couldn't get it done. That was a well-timed blitz by Spags, but, elite quarterbacks make that play no matter what. That's just the way it is. And the Niners came up short. Brock Purdy's in that Dak Prescott Tua tier where they're not the most talented guys, but their intangibles are great. And that's why they're average quarterbacks. And you need a great system, great team around them for a chance to win the Super Bowl. Now, Jalen Hurts is like a step above just because he won the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. And plus, I think Jalen Hurts is a step more dynamic than Dak Prescott, Tua, and Brock Purdy. I'll give Jalen Hurts that credit. But Jalen Hurts is more in that category than the top 4 category.